Good morning. Good morning, everybody. So welcome and thank you so much for joining us today for the Pathways to Becoming a Physician or Scientist event. It is co-hosted by the Career and Technical Education, CTE Department, and the Science Curriculum Departments. My name is Mrs. Beth Bonvie, and I am the Science Curriculum Developer in the Office of Teaching and Learning here at St. Lucie Public Schools. And with me...
Hi, I'm Dr. Lanisha Robinson, Program Specialist for Career and Technical Education. Please join us in welcoming our very own Superintendent for St. Lucie Public Schools, Dr. John R. Prince.
Good morning. First of all, I want to thank Lincoln Park Academy for hosting us today, and I know that we've got some folks out at our various school sites with healthcare interests watching us now, along with our IB students here. We've also got some middle school students, I understand, that they started their allied healthcare this year at Lincoln Park Academy. I want to thank our curriculum departments and also our career and technical education departments for putting this event on. It's a great opportunity to bring in some folks from Florida State, FIU, and also some of our local healthcare providers. So just, one of the things I want to talk about real quick today is healthcare is one of the fastest growing industries in the state of Florida. And not just that, it's one of the fastest growing industries in St. Lucie County. And what we want is to provide a forum for you to be thinking about your future, and not just about your future, someplace else, but what we have to offer right here in St. Lucie County, to where you can make a great living and be very successful, because our goal is to try to keep as many of our homegrown students local as possible. We don't want to provide you with a first-class education and then have you leave the community and never come back. Our goal for you, for many of you, is to provide you a first-class education and then move on to the next step of your lives, and maybe that's a state university, a local state university, and Indian River State College, but also the healthcare opportunities you're going to hear about today, and also you're going to have an opportunity to ask some questions. I will tell you, my daughter is a 9th grade student at one of the high schools that's watching today, and she chose her high school based on allied healthcare because she's interested in science, and also she may want to be a doctor or even a nurse practitioner, and those are the possible opportunities that the school or that particular school is going to be affording students at that school opportunities for. So I hope you listen intently today. Please interact and engage. You've got people here that came here to answer your questions, because you have a future opportunity maybe with one of these organizations. So I wish you the best of luck. I appreciate the opportunity. I also want to thank the principal, Dr. Harrington, for hosting this event here at Lincoln Park Academy, and have a great hour. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Prince. We're going to start with our first presenters. Our first presenters for today are Dr. Estevez and Mr. Justin Harasco from Florida International University Center for Translational Sciences. If you'll join me up here as I read your bio. Dr. Alvaro Estevez is a professor of cellular biology and pharmacology and the director of PhD program in biomedical sciences for the Herbert Wertheim College of Medicine at the Florida International University Center of Translational Science in Port St. Lucie. And Mr. Justin Harasco is the senior director of finance and administration at the Florida International University Center for Translational Sciences in Port St. Lucie. Justin is a strategic and operations leader with over 20 years of experience in healthcare and research administration.
Thank you for that kind introduction. Very happy to be here and see all of you here. So you see the translational science in the word, in the name. So that is, we have a lot of healthcare workers here working with patients, but the translational aspect is the bench. So you may have chemistry classes, biology labs, working in those labs. That's the bench to bedside. That's the translational phrase that you would hear. So that's what's in the name. We hope to take a lot of discoveries on the science side and the bench side into the help the patients. So that's the translational name that you have there. So we're over here in Tradition, right off of 95. As you can see here, we're on the bottom. Cleveland Clinic's Tradition Hospital is there on the left side, and there's another research building on the right there. So we have about 106,000 square feet, capacity for 30 research labs, about 300 people working in those labs. We're at about 70 right now. We're about to reach our 4th anniversary coming up here pretty soon. So very excited to be growing along with this area on the Treasure Coast. Again, what do we do in the building? What are our researchers doing? So we have researchers focusing on these aspects right now of science that you see on there. Again, translating into patient healthcare as well. That's the goal. We have PhDs. We do have some MDs as well that we do work with. So there's a lot of that may expand into other modalities such as cancer and other ideas as we grow. But there's a lot of scientists working on developments there. Again, what are our researchers doing? They're gathering data in the labs, working on the bench, testing out new theories, ideas, hypotheses, all of those kinds of things. Then they're publishing those in research journals, New England Journal of Medicine, Nature. You may have heard of some of those, in your studies. And then submitting grants to government entities, foundations such as American Heart Association, Alzheimer's Foundation. That's the goal, to financially sustain the research. So the university does put in a lot of money towards the research and the education going on at the building, but also, you want to apply for grants from the government. If any of you where Dr. Fauci was in the news a lot the last 3 years, he worked for the NIH. That's the main funder of the grants that come to our facility. So FIU overall, down in Miami, they have 2 very nice campuses. This one, the MMC campus, is their main campus, a little bit south of the Miami airport. A lot of good stuff going on there. Many of you in the audience or watching may end up here sometime in the near future. Their second campus in North Miami, BBC, they have some of their hospitality group is there, because a lot of the cruise line headquarters are there. So that's a big plus for FIU on the hospitality side in their school there. You can see me standing there next to 8,400 horsepower of wind. So they do a lot of hurricane testing with wind there in their engineering school. Computer science and engineering is very strong at FIU, if you're interested in those as well. Anybody that's seen any of the stuff on National Geographic, those kinds of things, they have an underwater research lab out on the Keys, a little bit east of Key Largo, about 60 meters down. People do live and work down there, so that's something if you're also interested in oceanography, those kinds of things. It is one of 3 underwater sites in the world. Again, Shark Week, Shark Fest, that's mostly FIU employees, researchers, faculty. If you're watching that on TV, I think that just occurred again back in July. So a lot of great things going on, actually all over the world with FIU. So. Okay.
I'm just here to talk about this program. So every summer, when you finish classes, we have a program in which students like you go and actually see what is doing science, but more important, you do science with your own hands. This is the group that was last summer. You may recognize some of them here. I do recognize somebody there, but no, this is the wrong button. So essentially it's in CTS here in Port St. Lucie. The way to, we have a lot of different areas. He already talked every investigator in CTS takes at least 1 high school student in their lab. Some of them take 2, some of them take more, some take 1. But all of you have a lab and all of you have to do research. What do you get from the program? Well, from my point of view, what you get from the program is you get a real view of what is doing science. Not the movie version of doing science with a lot of flask with different colors and things bubbling. I haven't seen that in my life, and he's been doing 30 years of science. There are not either things that get electricity burned. I haven't seen it either. But you will see real laboratories with machines like mass specs and those things that are real, and you will have access to do that research. You will receive, I think that is close to 200 hours of volunteer work. So we give you a document that say you did your volunteer work. At the end of all this, you are going to present your results in a symposium. And during that presentations, you are getting awards. This is how we are organizing it for this year. So in March, the applications are open. Please don't send applications to us. Talk with your science teachers. Your science teachers are the ones that manage all the process of selections of you. These were the interns that they were in the, do we have there the, oh, and that is the QR thing that if you click in there, it's going to give you all the information. And these are the students that were last year, some of them actually, and all of them were happy to be there. All of them learned something, and more important, I learned something from them. So thank you, and I still having 2 minutes. Oh, I did it faster than I expected, sorry. I was going so fast because I thought that you showed me the yellow thing. Apologize. So, the applications are due in April 9, okay? So you will send those applications to your high school teacher. And then the selection process go, and the reason that we need all that information so much in advance is because you have to have FIU credentials to be able to actually step in our facilities to do research. The first week of the program, most of what you are going to do is sit in a room like this, in which each one of our investigators is going to tell you what they do and what you are going to do in that lab when you join. So if you are going to count cells, they are going to tell you you are going to count these cells. If you are going to do Western blots, they are going to tell you you are going to do these Western blots. I know it doesn't make any sense what I'm talking about. It does a lot more sense when you get there and they explain it to you. And the other thing that you need to do is all the biosafety training that, in addition to be a requirement by FIU, is something that make all of us sure that you know how don't to get hurt, because a laboratory is a very dangerous place to be. It doesn't look like, but it is. And now I went through everything, and please, scan the QR, and you are going to get all the information how to apply and all the rest. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Estevez. Thank you, Dr. Estevez and Mr. Harasco. We now would like to introduce you to our next presenter, Dr. Juliet Lomax Homier with Florida State University College of Medicine, and joining her are Holly Garza Shaw and Angelica Tokika. Dr. Lomax Homier, originally from Queens, New York, graduated from Boston University for both her undergraduate degree and medical degrees. She then completed a residency in obstetrics and gynecology at the Boston City Hospital in Boston, Massachusetts. Dr. Lomax joined the National Health Service Corps, which paid 3 years of medical school tuition in exchange for providing 3 years of OB/GYN medical care in Fort Pierce at the Florida Community Health Center. Dr. Lomax subsequently opened a private practice, Just Ladies Healthcare, serving St. Lucie County for an additional 32 years. She has served the FSU College of Medicine as a clerkship director and an education director in obstetrics and gynecology. Dr. Lomax is currently the Fort Pierce Regional Campus Dean of the Florida State University College of Medicine. Joining her are her students, Holly Garza Shaw and Angelica Tokika. They are students attending Florida State University's medical school. Angelica is a Martin High alumnus and current senior medical student. Holly is a Lincoln Park Academy alumnus and current physician assistant student. I now welcome Dr. Juliette Lomax-Homier.
Thank you very much. I'm so happy to be in this auditorium. My daughter also was an alumnus of the school, so I feel like I'm really at home. We are primarily here today to see if any of you would consider a career in medicine. Many times we don't think it's something that we can do, but I need to convince you that with a little planning, you can be here, like my former student and graduate student here, practicing medicine. Medicine in this county is happening at the Fort Pierce Regional Campus. I am the dean of the Fort Pierce Regional Campus of FSU College of Medicine, which is located on the campus of Indian River State College. These are some of my current students. On the right, you'll see the physician assistant class of 2023. They'll be graduating in December, and you'll see the MD class of 2024, who'll be graduating in May of 2024. This is my current third-year class, the class of 2025. They'll spend 2 years here within the community at local hospitals and doctors' offices doing rotations to learn everything about obstetrics, internal medicine, general surgery, pediatrics, and the like. Students are also able to take elective rotations and other things that they may have interest in preparation for a career in medicine. But how do you get here? You get here by starting with programs just like this. It is my hope that if any of you are considering a career in medicine, that you'll spend some good time reading books, reading things that you enjoy, but also reading the books that go along with your high school courses. It's important to learn to read because you learn quickly and your comprehensive nature then is better, because when you're in medical school, you're going to learn lots of different subject matters, but if you've had some baseline practice with reading, getting that information is going to be easier for you. It's also important that you do other things. We want well-rounded people to become medical providers. I want you to learn how to cook. Cooking is chemistry. You don't recognize that, but it is. I want you to learn math and science so that you can read and understand all the things and that you can prescribe medications for your patients, because you need to know the detail of how to write numbers and making sure that things add up. Music, learning a skill like that is going to be helpful for you in a career in medicine. So those of you who like to sing, play guitar, all of those things, play piano, that helps to train you. Being physically active helps to give you wellness so that you have time to decompress from all the work that you're doing. You have to play a little bit, it's important. And things like hobbies, taking photographs, all those things make you a well-rounded person. When people come to a doctor or a physician assistant, they want someone that they can relate to so that they can tell everything that they need to tell you so you can make a diagnosis. How do you prepare for a career in medicine? Learn how to volunteer. As a medical provider, I think we give of ourselves to people. So you have to learn to meet people where they are. Volunteer at the food pantry. Maybe you could be a candy striper at a local hospital and work as a student volunteer there. As time goes on, you could work in medical camps for children, because they always need extra help in the summer, but these are wonderful things that can build your resume so that you can show us all that you're a normal human being that likes to provide service to people. The FSU College of Medicine has a STRIDE program. This is a partnership with local school boards that will have specialized programs within their middle schools that hope and help to prepare students for a career in medicine. We don't have one here, but it's my wish list that we would. The STRIDE program also sponsors a summer institute where aspiring physicians, you, can come and spend a week at the Tallahassee main campus learning simple things like physical examination and seeing what it's like to be a medical student. What are the requirements? You have to have completed your sophomore year or your junior year of high school, and you have to really pay attention to the website because this is a competitive program, so many high schools across the state are applying for this. The summer camp is held at our main campus in Tallahassee. This is our beautiful FSU College of Medicine Tallahassee campus. Here's the QR code, and there's our website, so that if any of you have interest, please take a look at it online and apply. Our dates for applying are June, so it's really nice during your winter holidays, spend some time looking at things that you can do for next summer. When you're ready for college, and even while you're here in high school, you want to think about the courses that you need for medical school. Here's the basic list, and I think it's important to tell you that so that when you get to college, you're ready at the first year that you're there and you're not wasting time because you didn't take a course. It's important that all of you have general chemistry, organic chemistry, biology, physics, calculus and statistics, behavioral science, and humanities. One of my favorite courses was English literature because I like to read, and it gives you an escape to read about things other than the sciences. When you're ready to apply for medical school, we have lots of places where you can look that will give you the tips that you have to use to prepare. One of them is the www.ama. It's the American Medical Association website. Everything that I'm saying is there for you to read and reread so that you're well prepared. Other places include the American Association of Medical Colleges website. Again, it will give you the very specific program of study so that you're not wasting time. When it's time for you to study for your ACTs and your ACTs, it's important to study and be prepared. It's the same thing for the MCAT. Medical school requires a medical admission test. My advice is that you have a prepared program to help you study for it so that, again, you know exactly what you need to know. There are other places to look for information. The Student National Medical Association, there's their website, and it's really committed to fostering students that come from underserved areas to be medically and academically prepared for a study in medicine. So it's important when you're applying for medical school and now PA school to score well on that admission test. So I go back to the basics. Do well here in high school so that you're just having building blocks of education and preparation. For those students who might consider a career in physician assistants, it's important to consider an entry-level career in medicine to prepare yourself, such as being a medical assistant, an EMT, or even a CNA, paramedics, etc. Baseline medical training helps you along the way. So all of these careers require you to have studying to be a part of your life. If you get into the groove, you learn how to manage your time so that you can study and play, because I think it's very important to have a good time with your friends and family at all times. Medical school is 4 years. In our instance, years 1 and 2 with the basic sciences are done at our main campus in Tallahassee. You'll study pharmacology, which is the study of drugs and medications, physiology, which teaches you everything about the body and in terms of how it works. The PA students complete very similar courses, and their study is 1 year. Medical students are 2 years. Both programs transfer to regional campuses. We have 6 regional campuses throughout the state. This is the Fort Pierce Regional Campus, again, located on the campus of Indian River State College. The third-year students do, the third and fourth-year students come to this regional campus. PA students are here for a year. doing clinical rotations at our local hospitals here from Martin County to Indian River County. The clinical years of medical school really prepare you for a life of medical training. Here you're learning how to examine patients, you're going hand in hand with the physicians in hospitals, really learning what it's like to be a provider. So why not you? Your planning can start now with a little planning, just little bits of things that will get you along the way. It's been my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lomax Homier. Now we'd like to bring Dr. Kara Mann, Dr. Dennis Cardreach, Dr. Sarah Fowles, and Dr. Daniel Basilja. Dr. Daniel Basilja attended Liberty University and Liberty University College of Osteopathic Medicine in Lynchburg, Virginia. He is currently a third-year resident at HCA Florida St. Lucie Hospital. Dr. Dennis Cardreach is a Director of Research and Quality Improvement at HCA Florida St. Lucie Hospital Medical Center as a resident. He graduated from State University of New York, SUNY, Downstate Combined Emergency and Internal Medicine Residency in 2008. Emergency medicine physician at HCA Florida St. Lucie Hospital since 2013. Dr. Kara Mann attended the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, and Edward College of Osteopathic Medicine at Auburn. She is currently a third-year resident and chief resident for HCA Florida St. Lucie Hospital. And then finally, but not least, Dr. Sarah Fowles is a board-certified emergency physician who has served as a member of the core teaching faculty in the Emergency Medicine Residency Program since 2014. Primary undergraduate training was at University of Central Florida and medical school at Nova Southeastern. Dr. Fowles completed her residency at Palm Beach Consortium of Graduate Medical Education with St. Lucie Medical Center in Port St. Lucie.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Last but not least, we're going to talk about how to become a doctor, okay? Let me get started here. The healthcare team. Now, there's a physician up there. It's more than just a physician. There's several other people that make up the healthcare team. A show of hands on who has people in your family that are in healthcare? Can you yell out what they are, what they do? I'm making this interactive. Say it again. Nursing, yeah. Surgeon, awesome. Great, great. Say it again, awesome. Who among you wants to do healthcare, but they don't have a mentor, someone in their family who's done it? Okay, great. Okay, I'm one of them, so I could raise my hand as well. My mom was a public school teacher in New York, in Brooklyn. That's where I'm from. My dad was a daily news truck driver, so he delivered newspapers, and they had meager means. We lived a decent life. We ate, right? We went to school. They definitely held education at high esteem, essentially. They wanted us to have a great education, and we took it to heart, right? It's one of those things where late night studying, just trying to avoid certain things, for certain temptations that get you distracted, you know? If this was around, oh, where's my phone? Pick up my phone. If that was around when I was a kid, I probably wouldn't be here, you know? So I'm gonna give you a few tips on how to get started and how to become a doctor, become a physician like my esteemed colleagues here. There's a few things, right? I don't know, perhaps a few of you have medical assistants or EMTs, x-ray techs, physical therapists, OT, nurses. What's one common denominator that you see with all these folks? They've all been in school for so many years, right? Of course, as a physician, you're in school for a lot more. Anyone want to guess how long did it take me to become my own attending after all my training? 8? So after 8, so it's 4 years in medical school. I'm sorry, 4 years in college, then 4 years in medical school, right? That's assuming you finish college in 4 years. That's a task in and of itself, right? To do all the credits that you need and everything quickly. and don't get distracted. Don't get dismayed or anything by things that can happen. After that, my residency, guess how long it lasted? Now, I did a combined program with internal medicine and emergency medicine. No. Up. No, it was 5. 2 months on internal, 2 months on emergency, and back and forth for 5 years, right? It was awesome. I love learning, and that's one attribute that you need to be a doctor. To love to learn, to love the science, right? And to love people, right? That's the only way I was going to be able to find a career that fulfilled me, because I love biology, but I could not see myself. No offense to the folks in FIU, I couldn't see myself in the lab micropipetting or doing Western blots and things like that. I just couldn't see myself doing it. I just needed people, you know? I'm like a social vampire. I just need people to be around. That way I can suck all their life energy out, that kind of deal. So PAs, nurse practitioners, that's like a little rung up from the earlier healthcare jobs. Now, these people, they work really hard. I have two. I have 2 nurse practitioners who work in the ER that I work at. I work at St. Lucie Medical Center down by US 1. It's like a 35-bed ER. We see a decent number of people. We see a lot of bread and butter medicine. We have a sibling hospital along with that you guys are well aware of, and they see all the major traumas. Sometimes we get traumas, not nearly as often, but these people have been in school for a while. Rita, she's a hard worker. She'll see patients up to the end. And you know, she's basking in all the benefits of her career, all the time she spent in school, about 8 years essentially. Every once in a while, when you don't see Rita for a while, it's because she's in Turkey, or she went to Switzerland, or some other place, right? Bridget is another one whose parents were in dire straits. They were addicted to drugs. They were involved in a lot of situations that normally you wouldn't see a kid from that relationship do well, and she found a way to do well. And she's doing awesome. She's living her best life, right? So now the physician, that's me and that's my colleagues. 11 plus years, mine was 13, right? It helps when you don't look as old. Now age is catching up to me. Now, I have to say something about where I work, the emergency room. I have like a little analogy for it. It's one I heard when I started training, when I started as an early attending. I was doing all these little things around the ER because in my residency, we had to do all the little things, like put IV lines in and things like that. And my boss was like, hey, wait up now. You're like, this is like an aircraft carrier. You're like a fighter jet. Like there's other people who do those things. I just need you to see a lot of patients, right? So if you think about it, our field, our ER, is akin to like an aircraft carrier, right? Like an aircraft carrier is, what is it? A massive ship. It's a humongous ship. And basically you have, it has a full crew, and everyone's equipped and responsible for doing specific things throughout the ship, right? There's an overall mission at hand. And for the ER is essentially to help people, right? And there's a lot of equality that comes with the ER, because I'm not, yeah, sure, there's someone from registration who comes and asks you what your insurance is or not, but we treat everybody. Everyone gets treated, right? And you're there to help people, and that's basically what I always wanted to set out to do. And there's a lot of stuff that goes into getting there, right? So the ER doc is like the fighter jet, and that's like the star of the show, right? The ER doctor is the one they come to see. You basically, you take off, you soar in the sky, right? You're doing all these loop-de-loops and all these things that are death-defying. At the end of it all, you're taking actions that oftentimes mean life and death for an individual, right? And that's one thing, but we're nothing without the whole team of people that we work amongst, right? Like the air traffic controllers on the aircraft carrier, they're like our nurses. They assure things run smoothly, that the patients are where they need to be, that the medicines are administered, right? Even like the x-ray techs, they're like the radar technicians, right? They allow us to see things that we can't see with the naked eye, beyond the horizon. They allow us to see disease processes that are occurring based on their use of x-ray imaging, right? Or CAT scan imaging, things like that. It's a whole team. And part of medicine is not just a science, but when Lomax talks about being well-rounded, yeah, you're being well-rounded because you need to be able to relate to people, talk to people, all different walks of life. People are from here to here to here to here. Everybody has some purpose. Even our janitor, he's like the maintenance crew or the mechanics, right? People that ensure that things are working, there's no horrible substances on the floor that you can slip on, right? So everybody does something. Everyone has value. If you want to be top dog, if you want to be a star, oh wait, what happened here? Okay, if you want to be a star of it though, you're gonna have to sacrifice, right? This is about delayed gratification, right? Nothing good in life that's worth of any value comes easy. Nothing. Name something that's really good that comes at no cost. Anybody? You can't find it. What? Someone said something? Say it. Say it again. Being a what? Yeah, but even they have to work at it. They gotta get the right equipment for video editing. It's not easy. You just can't just be an influencer like that. Okay, so high school, college, right? 4 years, medical school, 4 years, residency, 3 to 7 years. Mine was 5, right? I went to Xavier High School in Manhattan. It was an all-boys school. They taught me how to write a good paper, right? And that just made college so much easier. College, that's Brooklyn College. It's like IRSC, essentially. It was very cheap. I have 5 daughters, and I have to put them through college soon. And that's going to be very expensive. And it's not going to be $6,000. No, it's not going to be $3,000 a year like my college was. Medical school, I went to SUNY downstate in Brooklyn, New York. And residency was basically across the street from there in Kings County Hospital. It's like Longwood, but a little more intense. It's a level 1 trauma center, and we saw a lot of stuff. You know it's bad when the military is sending people to your hospital to train because there's so many people coming in with gunshot wounds every evening, you know? People your age. It was kind of sad. But I was able to do that training. Now, steps to take. You have to decide. Who believes a career in medicine is right for them? A show of hands. Okay, good, a sizable portion, right? That's good. Next, develop a strong academic foundation. Now, in the Bible, and I teach a Bible study last night, and we touched upon this, in Matthew 7, yes. Oh, this has to go quick? Okay, I'm gonna do it quick. Okay, sorry guys. Okay, there's a guy who built his house on the rock. There's a guy who built his house on the sand, right? Guess which house withstood the hurricane or the storm? The rock, right? So all the little things you do throughout what you're doing now, you're building a foundation. I knew about at least 3 medical students who failed out. Not that they were dumb, they weren't. They were probably really smart, so smart that they didn't have to build that foundation. But when they got really rough and medical school got super rough for them, their house fell down, they dropped out, right? They couldn't continue, they failed out. So there's things that you're doing right now that have to support that. Study habits, you can't procrastinate, you can't cheat. All these things are you're just taking away from your future self for instant gratification. I'm gonna keep going on quick. Pick a college that prepares, okay, that works. So careers, enroll in medical courses in high school, right? The stuff that the folks in FIU were talking about, do those. Apply by April, get it done, see if this is for you, right? Shadow physicians. Now, hopefully, Lomax Homier could figure out ways that you guys can come and meet us in St. Lucie. That'll be awesome. I love to have people who are interested in this and want to see it firsthand. Find a mentor, okay? Help others love science, solve problems, lifelong learning. That's part of it. I would elaborate a little more, but I'm running out of time. Personal characteristics, you gotta be motivated, compassionate, that's very big. There's a lot of smart people who do well, but they lack compassion. Don't be that person. Don't do medicine if that's the case. Do business, do something else, right? People are precious, you gotta treat them as such. You gotta manage your time well, right? So that means not, tell your friends, I'm sorry, I can't play ball, or we can't go and do this. I gotta, die to self and do something for my betterment, even though I don't see the result now. Discipline, what is it? It's like avoiding doing pleasurable things for your future, right? Because you want to have that future later on. So Rita's going to all these different places because she denied pleasure early on, right? So we've mentioned this. Advanced courses, science classes, maintain high GPA, strong study habits. Dana, how am I doing? Okay, I'm done. Okay, guys, there's a lot of stuff here. I hope that you guys got something out of it, okay? God bless you guys. It was a pleasure. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Karich. We will definitely share this presentation with the students so that they can get the rest of your presentation, and also give teachers opportunities to connect with you so if the students have questions, which is what we are going to get into right now. When our live audience walked in, you should have received a little card where you can ask questions. If you have any questions for our panelists, any of them, please write that down on the card, and we'll have some of our colleagues help to collect those questions from you. For our virtual audience, we're asking for you to submit your questions to the team's producers via the team's chat that you're on right now. And please keep in mind, students, that if we do not get to your questions today, we will send those questions out. We'll compile them and send them out to our presenters and get answers for your questions in the future. All right, so we're gonna start our panel discussion.
All right, so question number 1 for all of our panelists. What was the most important thing you got out of high school that has helped you now? So again, that question is, what was the most important thing you got out of high school that has helped you now? All right, we will start with FIU.
To be honest, to me, high school was a very fun time. I know that it's not very frequent, but I make a lot of friends. I did a lot of stuff. I learned everything, and I learned nothing. Yes, amazingly, I wasn't very good at, well, I get straight A's, but I wasn't really particularly interested in any subject because there were a lot of things for me to do. But I can say that it's a good time that I remember and I have fun. So I would suggest you have fun if you can.
Florida State University?
So I think the most important thing I learned in high school, that was a time that I was learning how to balance life. You know, that's when you start to get more involved, like with friends. I personally had to work. So it was an important time for me to learn how to balance all that, because then as you progress, your studies become more rigorous. You know, in high school, personally, I don't really remember like having to do homework. I just, you know, you have time in school to do those things. So anyways, it was important to learn that, you know, get involved in things that you like and just enjoy life right now, you know, learn about yourself, because eventually that's going to be very important to know who you are. And as Dr. Lomax also mentioned, you know, to things that makes you happy, that will keep you grounded eventually.
I think one of the big things is to, one, kind of echoing what Dr. Cardreve said, to develop good habits. I remember in high school it being very easy to just kind of skate on by. If you have the opportunity to take more advanced courses through like the local colleges, I think that's a really good way to see what the real workload can look like. But also echoing my colleague here, it's a good time to really dip your foot in everything. This is the most free time that you'll ever have in your life. Whether it's like extracurricular activities, taking up different hobbies, instruments, sports, anything. You try to find the things that you like, because if you end up not liking certain sciences, or you end up, you know, testing the waters, shadowing a doctor, finding someone in the medical field that you can relate to, and you find out it's not for you, then that's just one more positive step towards your future, because you're avoiding spending a lot of time and a lot of money on things that you don't want to do. But really, you know, finding something that you can relate to, trying out everything and developing good habits, you have the opportunity to do all of that right now. And I think that for me, it wasn't until my last few years of high school when I took an advanced course, whether it was like AP physics or chemistry or biology or something, and I realized what studying actually looked like and how much time you have to put into it to really retain information. So.
All All right, thank you. Our second question for our panelists is kind of related to that last one. So the second question is, what were your favorite classes in school? Which ones do you think are most useful and helped you prepare for your career now? FIU?
I think anything that relates to critical thinking, any of the math, sciences, they may not seem the most interesting when you're doing it, but anything where you can follow a process that prepares you for going forward. You know, I mean, I did spend a lot of time doing athletics and things in high school, so still have fun, but the other specific core classes where you can follow a process because it can relate to anything that you do going forward.
I would have to agree. Basically, all my sciences were my favorite classes because it gave me the foundation to kind of really enjoy how things work and why they work the way they do. But also orchestra, because it gave me this idea in my head that I can go into something that's basically foreign, and the more practice that I put into this procedure, I can kind of perfect it to how I want it to be, and I use that in my medical practice.
I think for me, the math and sciences, they were always like some of my favorite academic-wise, but I think just art in general, I really enjoyed, and it was a good outlet for me, and so I always took those like every year. So I think always finding your outlet and staying true to who you are is important too.
All right, thank you. Our next question, what high school class did you think was a waste of time that you realize now is valuable?
Philosophy. I hate it. What do we care about what the guy was thinking 2,000 years ago that another guy wrote about? So what do we need to read about? I hate it. Okay? And then you grow up and you figure out that actually we do care, because it helps us to think, it helps us to be better people, it helps us to relate with the society that we live, it helps us to relate with people that think different from us. But at that moment, for sure, I hate it. Yes.
I would have mine. I hope you guys are a little bit more forward thinking, I guess, than I was in high school. But I thought economics for me was a waste of time because I was focused on other things. But I remember we did this project about like buying stocks. It was fake, but you know, we pretended to buy stocks, sell stocks. And I was like, why am I wasting so much time with this assignment? I still remember how much I didn't like it. But anyways, yeah, I came to realize now that, you know, financial literacy is just so important to life, and, you know, you have to know that. So I learned a lot of basic things that are essential, you know, so you eventually will learn to appreciate those. Hopefully you already do.
Yeah, I hated every English course I ever took. My entire life. I remember in high school thinking every year it seemed there was another one. You had to read old books and then write papers on them and going over grammar again and again and again. And it felt like, you know, repetition and pointlessness. And then when you get to this point, no matter what you pick, if you're going to be a nurse practitioner, a physician, a nurse, med tech, whatever, there is so much documentation and so much you have to write, and you have to write it in a way that everyone that will ever read it will understand. Looking back, I wish I had taken some of those courses a little bit more seriously, because I feel like I'm still trying to learn English, despite it being my first language.
I think he's humble. He's one of the best documenters among the residents. He actually, you know, he's able to convey his viewpoints really well. Yeah, and that's something that, like me, I did a minor in English in college, and it does come back, and it's good. Now, it's funny, I went from English to biology major midway, because I didn't want to, I don't think I would have benefited from reading the Canterbury Tales in Old English. I don't think that would have benefited me at all, because I'm not writing anything in Old English. Yeah, I don't go back on that.
All right, thank you all for that. Our question number 4 is, if a student decides to pursue this career path, what advice would you give the student, or do you have any additional advice for the students today?
Number one, find a mentor, for sure. In any field that you're going to do, it doesn't just have to be science or healthcare. Somebody that you might look up to might be an uncle or somebody that, you just know from the family, and pursue that. Intern with them, find out how they got where they are, ask questions. Again, question everything. Not to ask questions, question everything. Why is it like this? Tell me about your job. Bother the heck out of them, just to learn how people get where they are and move forward from there.
I actually really like this question, but I'm gonna try to make it short. So first, for advice for students, if you think this is what you want to do, so I think first of all, just try to do the best that you can academically, and I think that's like a given. But especially if you're doing enrollment right now, one thing that I didn't realize is that any college credits that you do take right now, it's going to go into your medical school transcript. So let's say if you fail those, it's okay. We all have hardships. However, your college may forgive those, but even that fail is still counted towards your GPA. You're gonna get a separate GPA on your medical school app. So just do the best that you can in anything, of course. Another thing is that really try to find that this is what you want to do. Medicine, specifically, I'm talking about for medical school, it's something that you have to want it, and it's like it has to be an intrinsic drive. It has to come from within yourself, not other motivations, because it's a very tough path. You have to stay motivated, and sometimes it's hard to do that. And the only way you're going to stay motivated is that if you truly want to do this. And how do you know that? Well, you're going to go volunteer, you're going to go shadowing. A lot of those things are boxes that you have to check to go into medical school. But really, it's really important because you have to know it. Sometimes you think this is for you, but you have to talk to people all day. You have to be good at that. So it's something you have to check out if that's for you. And you're gonna gain those skills by volunteering too. You're not gonna waste your time. If you go volunteer at a shelter, at a food pantry, or, you're gonna interact with people. I feel like after COVID, especially, people just started to slowly lose the skill of interacting with others. That's something you cannot lose. And this is the time for you to gain it, and you do that through volunteering, even if it's not medically related. It's very important. Also, stay focused on your goal, and don't look at what the other people are doing. It's very easy to think that people around you are doing much better than you are. This is for now, this is for college, applications, for whatever you want to do. You always think the other person is doing better than you are, and it's not true. Everybody struggles. Some people share it more than others. Also, we always hear about finding a mentor, which you have to do. I personally had a hard time with that. I went to IRC for my first 2 years. I didn't have a mentor. So eventually you stumble upon people that want to help you, and they become your mentor. So I kind of found people that did guide me in certain areas like that. But what I wanted to recommend to you guys is that there is this podcast. It's called the Pre-Med Years. Again, I didn't have anybody in my family in medicine. My mom was a dishwasher and worked at Dunkin' Donuts. So this is how I found everything I needed to do to get into med school. You can start listening to it now. It's a really great resource. Again, it's Pre-Med Years by Dr. Ryan Gray. Thank you.
All right, so in our residency program, we kind of have a saying. It's begin with the goal in mind. So when you develop a goal, and this is your time to really develop your goals for life, never forget that end, your goal, your final goal. And don't let anybody, if you choose medicine, if you choose an influencer, everything that's good takes hard work. No matter what you choose, you don't, for the most part, fall into something that's good. You fall into things that nobody really wants to do. The things that people want to do, the competitive things like medicine, like being an influencer, like any other highly sought after profession, it takes a lot of work. And you will meet people along the way that may say, oh, you can't do that, that's not for you. Never fall for that. Keep your goal in mind, keep your eye on the goal, walk right past them and keep going. So that would be my advice.
Thank you. All right, we're going to start with some student questions, and this one is directly for Dr. Estevez. This question is for you from one of the students, I believe, that was in your summer program, Laura Vong. She's asking, what is your most memorable research experience?
Interesting. When I fail, my most memorable experience was I have research that I have recently published in one of the top journals, and I was invited in Sweden in a conference in the specialty to give a talk. 3 Nobel Prizes were in the audience, and I missed it. You have no idea how badly I missed that talk. I blank a couple of times. When they start asking questions, I have no idea what they were talking about. And it was not the language. It was, I blank. And after that, I feel so bad that I look for a place to hide. I was an adult. Don't think that I was a kid. I was in my 40s, so it's not. And one of the Nobel Prizes looked for me and told me, we all fail. It's not the failing, it's what you do with it. And I think that that was one of my most memorable experience in science, is not when I get a big result, is when I get nice people figure out that we are still humans. We have highs, lows, make mistakes, and all the rest.
Thank you.
This question is for FIU, and it's from one of our virtual students. How would one go about working with FIU Center for Translational Science for research and a science fair project?
Every single one of our researchers are top of the line. So really know what they are doing. So tell one specific area, one specific process, how do we do that? Well, first, if you are a high schooler, I think that the first thing that you should do is go to that QR code, go to FIU, look how to apply to the program, and apply. It's competitive, everything in life is competitive, eating is competitive. So, go and do it. Something that I can assure you that is for sure, if you don't apply, you are not going to be selected. So go and apply. And then how do you look at one program? You will have more than enough time to figure that out.
All right, thank you. Now, this question will be for HCA or Florida State University. This question is from Alexandra. How did you decide what field of medicine you wanted to pursue? And then 2 parts. Did any of you have a fear of blood going into the medical field?
I'll take that. I became an obstetrician gynecologist primarily because I was fascinated by the female anatomy. The first time I saw someone deliver a baby by cesarean section my mouth was wide open behind my mask because it was so quick and there was blood, which was great. So I didn't have a fear of it. I think I enjoyed the gore that you could then repair when you surgically complete everything, and it's almost like it was brand new again. So that's what was exciting for me.
I want to piggyback your answer. I was actually introduced as a student. I'm not a student. I'm a practicing physician assistant locally, and I'm surrounded by doctors, which are great, but if you're struggling with the idea of I don't want to just choose one thing, I would definitely recommend physician assistant because we get good schooling but we get to change our career whenever we want. Right now I'm practicing psychiatry, but tomorrow I could go do women's health or surgery the next week. So don't tunnel yourself if you're scared of that. There are other career options.
All right, thank you. Did you? Okay.
For me, I volunteered, so that's one way you can kind of get your feet wet, see what's out there, try to experience the most you can. Developing a mentor is nice if you can do that. But yeah, just seeing, reading, we have all kinds of videos, just put yourself out there, do the investigation to find what you like, and that's how I found emergency medicine was for me. I rotated in different specialties. I volunteered in the emergency department, and that's where I fell in love. So that would be my advice for choosing, and I love blood, so I can't comment on that.
All right, thank you. So final question, this will be for each of you. Well, one from each table. What was the most difficult challenge you have to overcome in your journey in healthcare or being a scientist? What was the most difficult challenge you had to overcome in your journey in healthcare or becoming a scientist?
Fear. The fear of failure. The fear I'm not good enough to do this. The fear that I will not have another idea. That once that I finish this set of experiments, I'm done. I don't have anything else to give. So it's pure fear. And you just overcome and keep going.
Biggest challenge was fear. Fear that you couldn't do the job, fear that you couldn't have the best outcome, but then you learn that you're working with a team and together collectively you do the best job that you can every time, and then you have success.
I think for me, I think just getting into medical school was a real challenge. I took the MCAT 4 times, but I think persistence really paid off for me. I was finally able to do it, but I think on the other end of that, personality-wise, I'm very quiet by nature, like I'm not super extroverted. And I found that to be a real challenge just because it seems to be a lot of very extroverted, loud people in this field, and so I find it hard to kind of make myself stand out in a way. So that has been my biggest challenge, I think.
Thank you. Now I'd like to say thank you to all of our presenters and panelists. We would like to present to each of you a certificate of our appreciation on behalf of our students and staff of St. Lucie Public Schools. This was a great opportunity for all of our St. Lucie Public Schools students to hear from professionals in the science and medical, educational, and industry sectors. We would also like to thank Dr. Prince, the Communications and Media Department, and Office of Teaching and Learning staff, the administration at Lincoln Park Academy, and all of our St. Lucie Public School students and teachers for participating in this event.
Thank you so much for being here today. Have a great rest of your day.